Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Mandatory Social Interaction Show. My name is Ben, and I am joined... Oh, I didn't think of a good adjective. I'm joined by my brilliant co-host, Tim.
Oh, thank you.
And as is tradition, we are playing Minecraft initially.
Oh, yes.
And
a little bit of Minecraft.
And also, as our new tradition, we are starting out in the amazing spa that Shaka Panda built for us.
And I started out in the water.
Yeah,
nice
I
and
did too.
warm.
I'm thinking
It's so toasty.
I'm thinking we need to like carve out an area over here for when we have a guest, or maybe we just put like a 1 block thing in the middle here. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do.
Or connect them. They could be like interconnected.
Nope, we're gonna have a one. Oh, I just dig myself in a big hole. We're gonna have a 1 block thing where the guest can sit in. So I'm gonna go and get a block.
Awesome.
Anyway, how are you doing today, Tim?
I'm doing well, Ben. I'm doing well. How are you, man?
I am exhausted, but I'm doing well overall.
It's been a hell of a week for you, man. You
Yeah.
First off,
Whoop.
let me say that
Uh-oh.
you have some big news related to your game Color Jumper.
I do have some big news. It got greenlit, inexplicably
Yes.
greenlit.
Congratulations, man. Seriously,
yeah,
like
well,
that
thank
is
you.
a big deal.
It is a surprisingly big deal, and I'm very happy that it's that whole process is behind me. Now I just have to finish the game and make
There's
it.
a lot of stress around that, wasn't there?
It was a really surprising amount of stress. I was not expecting it to be as arduous of a process as it was. Like I just thought that I'll put the game out, I'll send out a couple tweets, and it'll be done. But unfortunately, what happened was I put it out there, and then I need flint, don't I? Do you have a fire starter? A twisted fire starter?
I do not.
Okay.
I don't have anything like that on me right now. I am making myself some diamond clothes.
But anyway, I should mention that we are both streaming right now, so we have our respective chats open, and once we get into topics, I'm sure that we will be able to interact with the chats as is appropriate for live streaming. Whoa, we got a lot of diamonds. Did you find? Oh yeah, you had your
Remember, I have my my
bountiful
fortune one.
Yeah.
I just made a full set of diamond armor.
Oh my god, you got
I'm
a
not
lot.
going to put it on yet. I'm going to wait until I can enchant it. But yeah, I've got a full freaking set of diamond armor. So I'm going to squirrel this away somewhere. And, so it doesn't get lost, because I know that I'll die and it'll get burnt up or something, and I'm going to cry. All that work.
So yeah, I learned a whole lot about just the general creation process when it comes to putting a game out on Steam. Or at least putting a game on Greenlight. It was a lot of fun to some degree, but it was also really, really stressful. And I'm glad that part of the process is over. But now it's like now the real work begins, because you have to actually go in and finish the game, and also I don't know. There's a lot of work left to do, but it'll get there. I'm completely confident that it'll get there.
Me too. And I had the I don't know if I'd call it
the joy. Oh crap! That's one too high. I messed it up. Gotta redo this. I didn't. I apparently can't add.
Thank you, Jenks. Jenks just popped into my chat. So that's what Nathan was talking about. Gotcha. All right. Anyways, so it's a huge deal, man. So like seriously, good job and congratulations, and I'm very excited to see the full release and where it takes you.
Yeah, and I've gotten a lot of positive responses from it, so that also makes me happy that something I made people actually enjoy. So there's that. So yeah.
Yeah, but when I played it, I about pulled my hair out. But I'm notoriously and admittedly terrible at those games. But it was fun because I got a chance to curse at you and call you names, which is funny.
It's always funny, apparently. Just like high school.
Hey, you had a good time. Don't lie.
No, I did. And like
you had fun torturing me.
Yeah, one of the things that I learned while after the game came out is that watching people suffer is kind of fun sometimes. No, it's been a lot of fun to watch people learn the game as they play it, and that's like really important to me, just to be able to just to see how it all works and how people learn, and just watching people take different tactics to solve a level that I thought was very easily, explained. Is very interesting.
Yeah, and it's funny to see, how everybody does things differently.
Yeah,
it's always a fascinating thing, because I've watched a couple people play it too, Shaka being one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of fun. It was a good time, because it's fun to see when people get frustrated too. It's not fun to be frustrated. I know I was not enjoying that part very much, but it's fun to see, like, because Shaka is very funny when he gets frustrated, because like he doesn't get frustrated like me, where I get like a kind of I don't know, I get pretty salty.
You get nerd rage.
I do. I get nerd rage, but I try to channel that into a more humorous response, rather than just like shouting at my keyboard. Perfect. And like everything like that. So
there, I fixed it.
What'd you fix?
I fixed the spa.
Oh, nice.
We're all good
nice. Now. Excellent. Good to know.
So I don't know if you've been following like any gaming news, or I don't know. I think you said you had some stuff that you wanted to chat about, but now I can't remember what it was.
Well, mainly I just kind of wanted to touch some more on like Beam and my experience over the past week. And to be fair, like most of my past week, I've been kind of like in a half lack of energy days. I think I was getting kind of sick. And I got hit pretty hard on Sunday.
Oh, man.
I was out all day. I slept like 16 or 18 hours on Sunday, and I felt awful. And then I took the day off on Monday from work, and I slept in until like past noon, which is like unheard of for me, no matter what day it is. And unless it's Saturday, which usually I try to sleep until 1 because I'm up real late on Friday nights. But yeah, I slept in, and then I just kind of chilled out and tried to recover. And after on Tuesday, I felt like $1,000,000. Like,
that sounds
I'd
nice.
slept so much, so I think it was like a mix of sleep deprivation plus whatever was going around at the time. So
I'm jealous. I need to get more sleep. I have been notoriously bad at keeping my sleep schedule lately, and that's really not something that you should mess with.
Well, here's the thing, though, is I haven't had a steady sleep schedule in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
And I average like 5 hours of sleep a night, if not less, which I can do for a certain amount of time, but it really starts to pile up quick.
Yeah, it does.
And I usually catch up on Saturdays. I usually sleep until like 1, noon or 1. Which is a great way to make sure you keep on top of your sleep, is to sleep late at least 1 day a week, and it makes you feel much better during the rest of the requisite week. So, and Jinx says that I slept through D&D on Sunday, and I did.
What?
I wasn't feeling well. I know. A lot of people were really upset, not just the players too. Everyone was like, "Why no D&D?" And I'm just like, I feel like crap. I felt so horrible, man. I was in a bad way, and we've been doing D&D on Sundays, which is fun.
Yeah,
and
sounds
Saturday
fun.
I did once a month on Saturday, the third Saturday of every month, I do a Learn D&D thing at my local comic book store.
Oh, nice.
So I got through that, and I wasn't feeling amazing Saturday, but I chugged through it, and I was like, I'll go home and take a nap. And I took a nap, and I was okay. Felt okay. So it was solid. Like, we had, like, normally a group for D&D, for people who don't know, a normal group for D&D is like 5 people. That's like your average group. You don't want to go more than like 6 usually. Like, you can go up to 7, but we had 12 people show up.
Oh, you don't want to know some of the D&D games I've played when I was a kid. We had probably 15 to 20 people sometimes.
They're doable, but the rules have to change a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And to learn the proper way to play D&D, you want to do it in the proper setting, right? Like, that's the way that you want to learn it. And so the issue I ran into is like we have like 12 people, many of them kids. Like we had at the table we had 5 kids that were under the age of 14, I think.
Oh, gotcha.
Which is cool.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Because their parents came and their parents wanted to play, and
that's really cool then.
Kids. Yeah, no, it was really awesome, and that's why we had so many people, because we had a lot of parents there. But I had to pair up kids with parents and pair up a couple of people and stuff. It was interesting, and it was a lot of fun and really rewarding. Like they there was a group of 3 kids that came together. It was I guess 2 of the fathers who had played D&D back in the day, like a long time ago, and they wanted their kids to experience D&D, you know. And so, oh boy, I'm being mauled by Skelly, but they wanted their kids to experience D&D, and so they that's why they were there, and they were like, yeah, we want to, you know, have our kids experience what we experienced and like feel the love of role playing games,
except with a lot less math.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's way less.
No more THAC0.
Yeah, way less crazy nerdiness. Not to speak ill of classic D&D, but it was way nerdier than the crap you get today, man. Oh yeah. My god, I'm not going down there. There are so many creepers. So anyway, so it was really, really cool to have that many kids there. A friend of mine was like, just think of it this way, Tim. You helped encourage a new generation of role players get into the game. And I was like, that's a cool feeling. That's a cool thought.
No, for sure, man.
Because that's like something that's given me so much. What the hell is hitting me? Oh my god, there's so many pygmy zombies.
Where are you? Did you go underground? Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I'm nowhere near you. Have fun.
They're so fast.
Yeah, they're really hard to hit.
They are. But yeah, so it was like it gave me the warm fuzzies to think about that I was you know, helping newbie, you know, kids get into actually healthy, you know, hobby to be in mentally. Like it's a creative hobby, and it encourages thinking outside the box and all sorts of stuff. So it was really cool to think of it that way.
Yeah. So, I see you guys playing D&D, and I'm always like, now I want to play D&D.
Yeah, it's one of those things that's a ton of fun, but
it's a huge time commitment.
It's a huge time commitment for players and for DMs. People don't realize how much prep work there is in DMing. Oh yeah. I mean, you have to come up with storylines. You have to be very quick on the fly, so it's very mentally draining in the moment. Like, if you've got a group like we have on Sundays, which is a great group of guys, and they're a lot of fun to play with, they like to think outside the box and do crazy stuff. And so you have to come up with lots of things that enable them to do the crazy stuff, but you've gotta like actually like change the way the story was written on the fly to accommodate those crazy moments.
Yeah.
So because like they might completely go past a key critical thing because they wanted to go and charge in and get in a fight, rather than and Jinx says it perfectly. He says investigation through rugby tackles. Which is exactly what their group does. Is like they ended up one Sunday, I think it was the last time we played, they ended up it was an investigation quest where they had to figure out there was somebody with a magic artifact that was potentially damaging, and they had to figure out who had it and stop them from setting it off.
Oh,
and
nice.
So they ended up setting off the device inadvertently, and then they started just tackling people who were trying to get away from the deadly object because they didn't know who it was or what they could do to stop it. So they just started tackling people and doing all these crazy shenanigans, and it made it very very fun. It was very funny, but it's very difficult to plan through that. And Soup says it in my chat. He says, I wish people understood the prep work, then maybe there'd be less last minute cancellations. Because it's true. I mean, a lot of people do, like, a lot of DMs get discouraged because people quit or drop out last minute or say they can't show up, that sort of stuff. And it's like I understand stuff happens, life happens, But like some people are just like they go for a couple weeks and they're like, I'm not feeling it anymore, and they'll tell the DM like the day of, and it's like you just put like a solid week of work in there. But yeah. So Robin just popped in and he said he can't stick around for long, and he threw me a host. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. You got a bunch of new followers after a raid, and he hopes that it'll land me some viewers. I appreciate that, Robin.
Nice.
Take it easy, buddy.
Congrats.
Yeah, man. He apparently got a really like huge raid, like hundreds of people.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. So it's like super congrats to him. He's a pretty good streamer too. A lot of fun to watch. He's actually a DJ. He lives up in Jacksonville. He's a pretty cool guy all around. Nice dude that I met. But anyways, getting back on topic. It's one of those things where I hope you can't hear my dog barking in the background. I apologize if you do.
I hope you can't hear my cat going nuts in the background. So I think we're even.
But yeah, so it's one of those things, man, that people just don't realize that DMing is hard work, and it happens. And I'm not saying that like I put in more work than anybody. I probably put in less work than most DMs, but it's still a pretty time consuming thing, and it takes a lot of energy to DM. So it's one of those things where going on a Saturday where you don't, it's a crapshoot for the monthly thing I do, where it's like I might have 100 people show up, I might have 0 people show up. And so my big thing is I was kind of like, it's going to be a crapshoot, and I had a ton of people there, and they really appreciated it. A couple of the kids got starter sets and books and stuff, which was really good for the comic book store that I run at, and it's like it was just a win all around, man. It gave me the warm fuzzies, and it was just a really pleasant experience. So that was a lot of fun. It was a really good time.
Well, that's awesome. I would really love to get back into that whole thing, and maybe next year I can dedicate myself to maybe putting more time into it, because I had a lot of fun both creating the modules, and I liked making my own worlds. I mean, I love world building. Mm-hmm. So
well, let me tell you, one of the things that I've learned is that D&D's fun to watch. Even though it's just a tabletop thing with a bunch of folks sitting around a table rolling dice. Oh no. Damn no, what have I done? I made a terrible mistake.
What did you do?
I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. Don't die. No. Oh no. Oh no. Where's my pickaxe?
What did you do?
I fell in a hole with a bunch of bad things.
Oh my god.
Oh dear lord, where's my food?
And you're out of food?
Oh no, I think I'm not. I think I have some food. Thank goodness. Okay, I brought some steaks with me.
Oh yeah, you gotta have the steaks. I think Shaka stole my compass, because I don't have one anymore.
Yep. I remember you had a compass that I made you. I can make you another one when I get back up to the surface.
I can do it too.
What was I saying? I'm sorry. I got distracted by evil skeletons.
Something about D&D. And world building.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's fun to watch, and a lot of people, it's very popular right now to stream it, and to do YouTube videos on it, like Achievement Hunter or Rooster Teeth does one. They do their own D&D sessions. Funhouse does it. Like those are my two top favorite YouTubers, and it's a real blast to watch them, because like they're video gamers, and video gamers aren't necessarily tabletop gamers, because the creativity is way different. Like the thought process is way different, because on a game it's laid out for you.
Yeah, the rules are very strict.
Yes,
and not pliable.
In an RPG, it's whatever you want, as long as the DM is a good DM, they can handle it. So it's one of those things that's just it's just pure bliss to watch, in my opinion. It's so much fun. I love watching people play D&D whenever I get time. I mean, they're very long sessions. It's like 4 hours, so it's
they
hard
have
to consume,
be. I mean, that's the other problem. You have so many people that need to get together, and you don't want to have like a half-hour session.
Nope, because you won't get anything done.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll lay out a recap of what you did last time, and that's it. That's all you'll get done. So
yeah, I used to play with my girlfriend at the time, and her dad was actually the DM. He was a super cool guy, and
No.
And that's one of the reasons why I liked D&D so much, because it was run by an adult. And as an adult, he was able to bring in more mature situations, and not necessarily like not safe for work kind of situations, but just like throwing in moral decisions that a teenager or a kid couldn't create.
Right.
But were still based like well enough in reality to make sense.
Yep.
Which is, it was really formative to me, just like for how D&D actually, like how I perceive it. So yeah, I really love playing it and talking about it. Every time I talk about it makes me just want to play it again.
Yeah, Soup says he actually prefers tabletop games in an audio format instead of streaming.
Huh.
And I find that interesting because whenever I roleplay now, at least in 5th edition, which is the newest D&D version, I do completely narrative combat because I find theater of the mind is way more powerful than having actual minis on a table. I don't know how you learn to play or anything, but I learned to play with minis, and it ended up being more of a game than like an experience. Does that make sense? Like,
oh yeah.
Because as a game, it's like, you know, you can manipulate the area you're in and say, well, my tactic is I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna skirt their range of attack so they can't hit me. Whereas in this, it's all narrative. So they say, I want to go around this guy, and I'm gonna say, well, you can't get around him because he's very defensive and he's blocking your movement. And so you can't really get away with that as much. So you can't game it as much. It makes it much more interesting. And like Soup says in my chat, he says it lets the story pop better.
Yep.
At least in his audio format. And yeah, and mechanics kind of go under the hood of that because it encourages you to be more creative with the way that you're going to describe things. Because if you just say, well, I'm gonna skirt around him, I'm gonna say, well, he's gonna keep blocking your way.
Yeah.
Whereas in a mechanical way, that might not work because technically they could block, your turns wise, you could still get by them, but in a narrative way, that you can just say they can't. It's like it's a much more, in my opinion, fulfilling way to deal with situations.
Yeah, and I feel that there are still some instances where using the minis is preferable.
Yeah, but for big battles.
Yeah,
especially
for certain encounters
with dozens of people. Like I once did one that had I think there were 16 combatants or something total, and it was chaos. It was very hard to keep track. It's harder for the DM, but it's also hard for the players because they mentally have to visualize where everything is so that they can plan their next move.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a pro-con thing. It really is.
Yeah,
but
it depends on the situation.
It does, but I think overall it's much more engaging to do it that way. In my view, I find it much more. It challenges the players more to come up with creative ways around things and ways to do things if you don't have minis, because you're giving them a visual representation, which I feel limits them more. If that makes sense. Like if you've got something laid out in front of you, you're going to go with what's laid out in front of you, not what you see in your mind. So if you say, I see this way, I'm going to try it this way. Well, I might not have seen it that way in my mind, and I could say, well, that actually makes sense. That's pretty cool, and I just let it go because as a DM, you want to facilitate story above all else. Like your story is the most important part. The rules come second.
Yeah,
is kind of the way you go by the rule of cool. If it's cool, it works. That's kind of how it works with at least with my DMing style. Like it's one of those things where if they say something that's really cool, like I want to flip over this guy and then stab him in the back.
Yep.
Or
I've heard
Jinx says,
go ahead.
Rugby tackles, like their whole rugby tackling thing. Okay,
no,
what are you saying?
I've heard that some DMs give basically roll bonuses, so you get like a +2 to your roll if you plan on doing something cool.
That hurt.
And another really cool house rule that I've heard is if it is your turn and you have your action prepared already, you get another +1 or +2 on whatever you plan on doing.
Yep.
I really love that rule.
Yeah, there's some really cool stuff that you can do. Like D&D 5th edition encourages this by giving you what's called advantage or disadvantage.
Yes.
And their system's based around that. And advantage is you roll 2d20 and you take the highest. So your chance of getting a good roll is way higher than if you just gained a +2 or a +1 or whatever. But if something that you do puts you like in a place where you could easily be stopped or hurt or something, you get disadvantage.
Yep.
So it's a way of encouraging people to be creative in the way they do things, because if you do something cool, the DM's much more likely to go, hey, that's freaking awesome. Take advantage on your roll or whatever.
Yeah.
And Soup says, I find big battles work narratively if you have a group that's really good at viewing that sort of thing in an abstract way. And that's extremely true. That is absolutely correct. It just depends on your group and the situation. It's very situational, like Ben was saying. It really is. Because like some groups have trouble with any narrative combat. Like kids have real trouble with narrative combat. One of the things that I learned from this past Saturday was that the kids had real trouble visualizing distances because they just don't really get what the difference between 20 feet is and 30 feet is. Because that's not a very big distance to them in their minds. It's like, well, it's only 10 difference, but it's 10 feet. It's a pretty big difference, in terms of like swinging a sword or, punching something or whatever. But they don't really connect that. So I had to set up minis, or I set up dice to represent each of the characters and the enemies in lieu of tokens or minis, because I didn't have them on me. Excuse me. And so that helped them immensely, and it actually engaged them a lot more, which is cool. So I learned a lesson there that if I have a bunch of kids, use minis or tokens, some kind of a visual representation.
No, I like that though. And I mean, when you play your stream, you do it with Tabletop Simulator, right?
Correct, and we do it. We do a hybrid narrative kind of thing. The way I have it set up is we play on Tabletop Sim. I put down the battle map, and then they pretty much they put their minis in the general area they are, and then we kind of go from there. It's like it's not an actual representation. It's just more of a guideline to where they are. Yeah, and that's actually how I learned D&D as well, where it was all abstract and there wasn't. I think that was AD&D or Advanced D&D, like version 2. Yes. That probably was the one that you were in, because AD&D 2 was huge. That was like the biggest one, like by far. So. And then we moved to 2.5, and then we moved to 3, and then I think I played a little bit. 3 was the first Wizards of the Coast one. Yeah, and then I think I played a little bit of 4, and that's when everybody got kind of busy, and I stopped playing. Someday, like I said, like 2017, I'm hoping to have a lot more free time to actually do things that make me sane instead of just go crazy. So, hey man, but busy's good sometimes. I mean, is. It's hard to do constantly, and I give you a lot of credit for you. You and I are very similar in that regard. We always have a ton of irons in the fire at any time, and I think that at least for me, my brain works most efficiently when I have a ton of ideas going on, and I'm just throwing rice at the wall and seeing what sticks, and just going with that. And that is what motivates me to keep going and keep innovating. I don't know about you, but I feel like you're probably in a similar boat. Fear. It's like, fear. What if I don't finish these deadlines? I am the same way. And my thing is like, honestly, I kind of have a fear of not doing anything. Like what if I stop doing stuff? I feel like my brain is going to atrophy, and then I'm never going to want to do anything again. Yeah, and which I know is kind of dumb, but it's like some kind of like a weird like concern in my lizard brain that tells me must keep moving, must keep going, must keep trying. Yeah, I'm exactly the same way, where I think about people who just come home and watch TV all night, and I can't understand how that works. As much as I'd like to. I occasionally will, and I think it's rare. Like I'll sit down and watch anime for an evening with the wife or whatever, but like I have real trouble doing that every night. I really do. Well, yeah, and I do it too. Like I get hooked on a show and I watch all of it in like a weekend. But then I'm like, oh, I wasted so much time. Like there's so many things that I could have done in this time, but I spent it
watching a show that's, transient, and I could have been doing something permanent, and then I get all worked up about that, and then, But
well, Jinx says that he watches TV to go to sleep.
Oh, and, I can't.
I kind of do that too.
I cannot.
I turn on the TV. Oh, really?
Nope.
You have to have silence. Are you one of those?
White noise is preferable, like a fan going. Even in the winter, we usually have a fan or like a humidifier running. But I cannot. If there's a TV going, I have to pay attention to it because I have to know what's going on and what happens.
Gotcha.
So I can't sleep because I'm paying attention.
I'll take naps with the TV on because the sound of talking soothes me. Like I like listening to people talk. It's why I like podcasts so much, I guess. But yeah, I understand that. Like I can't go for a full night's sleep with a lot of sound going on. Like I can, but it doesn't lead to restful sleep for me.
Yeah.
It leads to pretty fitful sleep. So it's a trade-off. Like I can take naps with it pretty easily, but it's not like a rewarding thing for me to do.
Yeah. And I used to sleep with the radio on. That was different because those aren't stories. Those are like songs, I guess. I don't know how to describe it.
Music is a little different for me as well.
Well, I guess I didn't really mention at the beginning of this that we were planning on doing half-hour episodes because we're recording these on a Thursday, and we're usually doing the recordings on a Friday. So,
right.
Tim, I don't know if you wanted to end this one now or if you wanted to keep going for a little bit longer.
We might as well end this one now if we're going just for the 30-minute ones.
Yeah, and I apologize for this. These past like we've mentioned, these past couple months or weeks have been very busy for a lot of different reasons. Yeah, I don't want to say trying because it's not like physically it is kind of physically exhausting, even though it's mostly just thinking things. But yeah, it's been difficult, and I'm really hoping that the end of this year, which is still like 3 months away, but the end of this year will be a lot more a lot less stressful.
Yeah.
So if you wanted
that would be good.
Yeah, Tim, if you wanted to tell us where to find you online, I'm going to start heading back home. At some point, this whole thing that I'm building will be done, but that's still a little ways away.
Someday. But hey, a long-term project is good for MSIS. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So you can find me on Twitch, which I'm live on right now, and Beam at twitch.tv or beam.pro/insertcointheater. I actually reside on both of those platforms now, mainly on Twitch. You can find me on the web at insertcointheater.com. You can find me on YouTube at youtube.com/insertcointheater.com. That's insertcointheater, DOTCOM. And then I'm on Twitter at insertcointim. How about you, Ben? Where can they find you?
Dang it, you talk too fast. You can find me online at Twitch, Twitter, Patreon, and YouTube at Ben_Burns. That's BURNES. Just like Tim, I am streaming this live right now, and honestly, I kind of like it, even though there haven't been a whole lot of people in the chat. It's been nice just to have that option available if somebody does show up. So I think that if we don't have a guest, we might just both stream this at the same time. From now on, and I'm going to get back in my spa because it's the end of the episode.
Oh man, I got to do the same. Let me undo my my splash screen so that people can see me take a jump back in the pool.
Sploosh. Yeah. So
I got it in there. I got to unwind. So much work.
So yeah, I think I did my spiel, and I really do enjoy having Twitch open, even though I think you've been having a lot more people watching than me. But like primarily, I do music stuff.
To,
so
Soup and Jenks.
Yeah,
in my chat
for
today.
Sure.
Appreciate you guys hanging out.
And for those who are here, we are going to record Sunday's episode right after this, so you should stick around if you want to just get another half hour or 45 minutes of entertainment.
Yeah, we're gonna take a short break in between, and then we will kick off the next. So.
All right, now I have to click stop recording instead of stop streaming, so I'm gonna do that right now. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.